Chapter 4, The Third Noble Truth. NIRODHA, the cessation of Dukkha. The third noble truth is that there is emancipation, liberation, freedom from suffering, from the continuity of Dukkha. This is called the noble truth of the cessation of Dukkha, Dukkha NIRODHA Aryasaka, which is Nibbana, more popularly known in its Sanskrit form of Nirva. To eliminate Dukkha completely, one has to eliminate the main root of Dukkha, which is thirst, ta, as we saw earlier. Therefore, Nirva is known also by then term Tahakkhaya, extinction of thirst. Now you will ask, but what is Nirva? Volumes have been written in reply to this quite natural and simple question. They have, more and more, only confused the issue rather than clarified it. The only reasonable reply to give to the question is that it can never be answered completely and satisfactorily in words, because human language is too poor to express the real nature of the absolute truth or ultimate reality, which is Nirva. Language is created and used by masses of human beings to express things and ideas experienced by their sense organs and their mind. A supramundane experience like that of the absolute truth is not of such a category. Therefore, there cannot be words to express that experience, just as the fish had no words in his vocabulary to express the nature of the solid land. The tortoise told his friend the fish that he, the tortoise, just returned to the lake after a walk on the land. Of course the fish said, "You mean swimming." The tortoise tried to explain that one couldn't swim on the land, that it was solid, and that one walked on it. But the fish insisted that there could be nothing like it, that is must be liquid like his lake, with waves, and that one must be able to dive and swim there. Words are symbols representing things and ideas known to us, and these symbols do not and cannot convey the true nature of even ordinary things. Language is considered deceptive and misleading in the matter of understanding of the truth. So the Langvatristra says that ignorant people get stuck in words like an elephant in the mud. 87. Nevertheless, we cannot do without language. But if Nirva is to be expressed and explained in positive terms, we are likely immediately to grasp an idea associated with those terms, which may be quite the contrary. Therefore, it is generally expressed in negative terms. 88. A less dangerous mode perhaps. So it is often referred to by such negative terms as Tahakkhaya, extinction of thirst, Asaketa, uncompounded, unconditioned, Virga, absence of desire, NIRODHA, cessation, Nibbana, blowing out or extinction. Let us consider a few definitions and descriptions of Nirva as found in the original Pali texts. It is the complete cessation of that very thirst, ta, giving it up, renouncing it, emancipation from it, detachment from it. 89. Calming of all conditioned things, giving up of all defilements, extinction of thirst, detachment, cessation, Nibbana. 90. O Bhikkhus, what is the absolute, Asaketa, unconditioned? It is, O Bhikkhus, the extinction of desire, Ragakkhaya, the extinction of hatred, Dosakkhaya, the extinction of illusion, Mohakkhaya. This, O Bhikkhus, is called the absolute. 91. O Rodha, the extinction of thirst, Tahakkhaya, is Nibbana. 92. O Bhikkhus, whatever there may be things conditioned or unconditioned, among them detachment, Virga, is the highest. That is to say, freedom from conceit, destruction of thirst. 93. The uprooting of attachment, the cutting off of continuity, the extinction of thirst, ta, detachment, cessation, Nibbana. 94. The reply of Sariputta, the chief disciple of the Buddha, to a direct question, what is Nibbana, posed by a Parivrajaka, is identical with the definition of Asaketa given by the Buddha, above: the extinction of desire, the extinction of hatred, the extinction of illusion. 95. The abandoning and destruction of desire and craving for these five aggregates of attachment, that is the cessation of Dukkha. 96. The cessation of continuity and becoming, Bhava NIRODHA, is Nibbana. 97. And further, referring to Nirva, the Buddha says, O Bhikkhus, there is the unborn, grown, and unconditioned. Were there not the unborn, ungrown, and unconditioned, there would be no escape for the born, grown, and conditioned. Since there is the unborn, ungrown, and unconditioned, so there is escape for the born, grown, and conditioned. 98. Here the four elements of solidity, fluidity, heat, and motion have no place, the notions of length and breadth, the subtle and the gross, good and evil, name and form are altogether destroyed, neither this world nor the other, nor coming, going or standing, neither death, nor birth, nor sense objects are to be found. 99. Because nirvana is thus expressed in negative terms, there are many who have got a wrong notion that it is negative, and expresses self-annihilation. Nirvana is definitely no annihilation of self, because there is no self, no annihilate. If at all, it is the annihilation of the illusion, of the false idea of self. It is incorrect to say that nirvana is negative or positive. The ideas of negative and positive are relative, and are within the realm of duality. These terms cannot be applied to nirvana, absolute truth, which is beyond duality and relativity. A negative word need not necessarily indicate a negative state. The Pali of Sanskrit word for health is rajya, a negative term, which literally means absence or illness. But rajya, health, does not represent a negative state. The word immortal, or its Sanskrit equivalent amta or Pali amita, which also is a synonym for nirvana, is negative, but it does not denote a negative state. The negation of negative values is not negative. One of the well-known synonyms for nirvana is freedom, Pali mutti, Saket mutti. Nobody would say that freedom is negative. But even freedom has a negative side. Freedom is always a liberation from something which is obstructive, which is evil, which is negative. But freedom is not negative. So nirvana, mutti, or vimutti, the absolute freedom, is freedom from all evil, freedom from craving, hatred, and ignorance, freedom from all terms of duality, relativity, time, and space. We may get some idea of nirvana as absolute truth from the Dvaibhaga Sutta, number 140, of the Majjhima Nikaya. This extremely important discourse was delivered by the Buddha to Pukasti, already mentioned, whom the master found to be intelligent and earnest, in the quiet of the night in a potter's shed. The essence of the relevant portions of the sutta is as follows. A man is composed of 6 elements: solidity, fluidity, heat, motion, space, and consciousness. He analyzes them and finds that none of them is mine, or me, or myself. He understands how consciousness appears and disappears, how pleasant, unpleasant and neutral sensations appear and disappear. Through this knowledge his mind becomes detached. Then he finds within him a pure equanimity, upek, which he can direct towards the attainment of any high spiritual state, and he knows that thus this pure equanimity will last for a long period. But then he thinks, if I focus this purified and cleansed equanimity on the sphere of infinite space and develop a mind conforming thereto, that is a mental creation, say kata. 100 If I focus this purified and cleansed equanimity on the sphere of infinite consciousness, on the sphere of nothingness, or on the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception and develop a mind conforming thereto, that is a mental creation. Then he neither mentally creates nor wills continuity and becoming, bhava, or annihilation, vibhava. 101 As he does not construct or does not will continuity and becoming or annihilation, he does not cling to anything in the world. As he does not cling, he is not anxious. As he is not anxious, he is completely calmed within, fully blown out within Pakata Yeva Paranabhudai. And he knows, finished is birth, lived is pure life, what should be done is done, nothing more is left to be done. 102. Now, when he experiences a pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral sensation, he knows that it is impermanent, that it does not bind him, that it is not experienced with passion. Whatever may be the sensation, he experiences it without being bound to it, Vasayudo. He knows that all those sensations will be pacified with the dissolution of the body, just as the flame of a lamp goes out when oil and wick give out. Therefore, O Bhikkhu, a person so endowed is endowed with the absolute wisdom, for the knowledge of the extinction of all dukkha is the absolute noble wisdom. This his deliverance, founded on truth, is unshakable. O Bhikkhu, that which is unreality, mosadama, is false, that which is reality, Amisadhamma, Nibbana, is truth, Sakka. Therefore, O Bhikkhu, a person so endowed is endowed with this absolute truth. 4. The absolute noble truth, Parama Ariyasakkha, is Nibbana, which is reality. Elsewhere the Buddha unequivocally uses the word truth in place of Nibbana. I will teach you the truth and the path leading to the truth. 103. Here truth definitely means nirvana. Now, what is absolute truth? According to Buddhism, the absolute truth is that there is nothing absolute in the world, that everything is relative, conditioned, and impermanent, and that there is no unchanging, everlasting, absolute substance like self, soul, or Atman within or without. This is the absolute truth. Truth is never negative, though there is a popular expression as negative truth. The realization of this truth, i.e., to see things as they are, yathartha, without illusion or ignorance, avijja, 104 is the extinction of craving thirst, tahakkhaya, and the cessation, NIRODHA, of dukkha, which is nirvana. It is interesting and useful to remember here the Mahina view of nirvana as not being different from Sasra 105. The same thing is Sasra or nirvana according to the way you look at it subjectively or objectively. This Mahina view was probably developed out of the ideas found in the original Theravada Pali texts, to which we have just referred in our brief discussion. It is incorrect to think that nirvana is the natural result of the extinction of craving. Nirvana is not the result of anything. If it would be a result, then it would be an effect produced by a cause. It would be sakkata produced and conditioned. Nirvana is neither cause nor effect. It is beyond cause and effect. Truth is not a result nor an effect. It is not produced like a mystic, spiritual, mental state, such as dhyana or samadhi. Truth is. Nirvana is. The only thing you can do is to see it, to realize it. There is a path leading to the realization of nirvana. But nirvana is not the result of this path. 106. You may get to the mountain along a path, but the mountain is not the result, not an effect of the path. You may see a light, but the light not the result of your eyesight. People often ask, what is there after nirvana? This question cannot arise, because nirvana is the ultimate truth. If it is ultimate, there can be nothing after it. If there is anything after nirvana, then that will be the ultimate truth and not nirvana. A monk named NIRODHA put this question to the Buddha in a different form: for what purpose, or end, is nirvana? This question presupposes something after nirvana, when it postulates some purpose or end for it. So the Buddha answered, O NIRODHA, this question could not catch its limit, i.e., it is beside the point. One lives the holy life with nirvana as its final plunge, into the absolute truth, as its goal, as its ultimate end. 107. Some popular inaccurately phrased expressions like the Buddha entered into nirvana or parinirvana after his death have given rise to many imaginary speculations about nirvana. 108. The moment you hear the phrase that the Buddha entered into nirvana or parinirvana, you take nirvana to be a state, or a realm, or a position in which there is some sort of existence, and try to imagine it in terms of the senses of the word existence as it is known to you. This popular expression entered into nirvana has no equivalent in the original texts. There is no such thing as entering into nirvana after death. There is a word parinibbutto used to denote the death of the Buddha or an arahant who has realized nirvana, but it does not mean entering into nirvana. Parinibbutto simply means fully passed away, fully blown out or fully extinct, because the Buddha or an arahant has no re-existence after his death. Now another question arises: what happens to the Buddha or an arahant after his death, parinirvana? This comes under the category of unanswered questions, avikata. 109. Even when the Buddha spoke about this, he indicated that no words in our vocabulary could express what happens to an arahant after his death. In reply to a Parivrajaka named Vakha, the Buddha said that terms like born or not born do not apply in the case of an arahant, because those things matter, sensation, perception, mental activities, consciousness with which the terms like born and not born are associated, are completely destroyed and uprooted, never to rise again after his death. 110. An arahant after his death is often compared to a fire gone out when the supply of wood is over, or to the flame of a lamp gone out when the wick and oil are finished. 111 Here it should be clearly and distinctly understood, without any confusion, that what is compared to a flame or a fire gone out is not nirva, but the being composed of the 5 aggregates who realized nirva. This point has to be emphasized because many people, even some great scholars, have misunderstood and misinterpreted this smile as referring to nirva. Nirva is never compared to a fire or a lamp gone out. There is another popular question: if there is no self, no Atman, who realizes nirva? Before we go on to nirva, let us ask the question, who thinks now, if there is no self? We have seen earlier that it is the thought that thinks, that there is no thinker behind the thought. In the same way, it is wisdom, realization, that realizes. There is no other self behind the realization. In the discussion of the origin of dukkha we saw that whatever it may be, whether being, or thing, or system, if it is of the nature of arising, it has within itself the nature, the germ, of its cessation, its destruction. Now dukkha, sasra, the cycle of continuity, is of the nature of arising, it must also be of the nature of cessation. Dukkha arises because of thirst, ta, and it ceases because of wisdom, pa. Thirst and wisdom are both within the 5 aggregates, as we saw earlier. 112. Thus, the germ of their arising as well as that of their cessation are both within the 5 aggregates. This is the real meaning of the Buddha's well-known statement: within this fathom-long sentient body itself, I postulate the world, the arising of the world, the cessation of the world, and the path leading to the cessation of the world. 113 This means that all the 4 noble truths are found within the 5 aggregates, i.e., within ourselves. Here the word world, loka, is used in place of dukkha. This also means that there is no external power that produces the arising and the cessation of dukkha. When wisdom is developed and cultivated according to the 4th noble truth, the next to be taken up, it sees the secret of life, the reality of things as they are. When the secret is discovered, when the truth is seen, all the forces which feverishly produce the continuity of sasra in illusion become calm and incapable of producing any more karma formations, because there is no more illusion, no more thirst for continuity. It is like a mental disease which is cured when the cause or the secret of the malady is discovered and seen by the patient. In almost all religions the summum bonum can be attained only after death. But nirva can be realized in this very life, it is not necessary to wait till you die to attain it. He who has realized the truth, nirva, is the happiest being in the world. He is free from all complexes and obsessions, the worries and troubles that torment others. His mental health is perfect. He does not repent the past, nor does he brood over the future. He lives fully in the present. 114 Therefore he appreciates and enjoys things in the purest sense without self-projections. He is joyful, exultant, enjoying the pure life, his faculties pleased, free from anxiety, serene and peaceful. 115 As he is free from selfish desire, hatred, ignorance, conceit, pride, and all such defilements, he is pure and gentle, full of universal love, compassion, kindness, sympathy, understanding, and tolerance. His service to others is of the purest, for he has no thought of self. He gains nothing, accumulates nothing, not even anything spiritual, because he is free from the illusion of self, and the thirst for becoming. Nirva is beyond all terms of duality and relativity. It is therefore beyond our conceptions of good and evil, right and wrong, existence and non-existence. Even the word happiness, sukha, which is used to describe nirva, has an entirely different sense here. Sariputta once said, "O friend, nirva is happiness. Nirva is happiness." Then Uddhava asked, "But, friend Sariputta, what happiness can it be if there is no sensation?" Sariputta's reply was highly philosophical and beyond ordinary comprehension, that there is no sensation itself is happiness. Nirva is beyond logic and reasoning, atakvakara. However much we may engage, often as a vain intellectual pastime, in highly speculative discussions regarding nirva or ultimate truth or reality, we shall never understand it that way. A child in the kindergarten should not quarrel about the theory of relativity. Instead, if he follows his studies patiently and diligently, one day he may understand it. Nirvana is to be realized by the wise within themselves, Pakita Vedatabo Vi. If we follow the path patiently and with diligence, train and purify ourselves earnestly, and attain the necessary spiritual development, we may one day realize it within ourselves without taxing ourselves with puzzling and high-sounding words. Let us therefore now turn to the path which leads to the realization of Nirvana.